Chapter 2, Section 3, we're moving on to volume, apprentice level. Let's first begin by, well, what is the definition of volume? It's like area, but instead of unit squares, it's the sum of unit cubes that fit inside a three-dimensional object. Okay. Now, I have three shapes below right here. Start with a rectangular prism. How do you find the volume? Well, it's quite simple. It's just the length times the width times the height. LWH. Pretty easy. Cylinder. Well, it's actually just the area of the base. So I'll just put as a subscript here, base. Okay. Times the height. All right. But because a cylinder, the shape of the base is a circle, the area would be given by pi r squared. So specifically for a cylinder, it is pi r squared h. Cone, believe it or not, is actually very similar to a cylinder. In fact, it's the same thing, apart from one small detail. All right, so it is the area of the base, which again would just be the area of the circle, okay, times the height. Okay, but we divide everything by 3. Okay, and of course, another way to write that, you can divide this whole thing by 3, or you can multiply by 1/3. So I'll use that version here. So it's 1/3 times the area of a base, which is the circle. So it's 1/3 pi r squared h. So it's exactly the same as the cylinder, only it's multiplied by 1/3, or say the same thing, divide by 3. Okay, how about a sphere? Okay, I've given you the formula for the surface area of a sphere. That was 4 pi r squared. What about the volume of a sphere? And I'm actually going to write it in two different ways. One is the number 4/3 times pi times the radius, but it's cubed this time. Whoop. Do a better job than that. There we go. But another way of saying the exact same thing, you can squeeze this in over here if you want, to multiply by 4/3 is exactly the same as multiplying by 4 and then just dividing by 3. Okay, so both of these formulas say exactly the same thing. The volume of a square pyramid, it's very similar to a cone. So it is 1/3 times the area of the base. In this case, that's just a square. Come on. There we go. Times the height. All right. So I'll be a little bit more specific because this is a square. Volume would be 1/3 times, and the area of a square is just the length times the length, which has been labeled b. So that's b squared times h. And there we go. All right, let's solve a problem here. We have the height of a cylinder is twice the radius. Okay, if the radius is 3 centimeters, what is the volume of the cylinder? Okay, well, to find the volume of a cylinder, we need the radius and we need the height. They've explicitly given us the radius, but of course, in here, we're given the relationship between the height and the radius. So I'm just going to make a list of the things that I know. I know that r is 3 centimeters. Okay, well, if the height is twice the radius, well, it should be obvious that that is 6 centimeters. No problem. So how do we find the volume? This is a cylinder. So that's given by V equals pi r squared h. So now I'm going to replace, of course, r and h with the numbers that I have. This is 3 centimeters. I need to square this whole thing times 6 centimeters. And there we go. Let's take out my calculator. So I get pi times, there we go. I get approximately 169.6, and my units now would be centimeters cubed. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Number 2, the height of a rectangular prism, so it's just a box, is 1/2 the width. If the width and length are 2 inches and 3 inches respectively, what is the volume? Okay, well, I don't have a picture here, but it's a box. I'm sure you can visualize a box. I'm just going to make a list of the things that I know. So the width and length are listed here, so it's respectively, so I just have to watch the order, although it probably doesn't really make a difference in this case. So the width, so I'll call W, is 2.0 inches. No problem. And the length, we are told, is 3 inches. Okay. And the height, what is the height? That is 1/2 the width. Well, if the width is 2, half of 2 is 1. That wasn't hard. Okay. So this is, I would argue, easier than the last one. So the volume of a rectangular prism is length times width times height, and I can just replace everything with the numbers that I know. Just watch your units, especially when you give your final answer. So this is 1 point. I don't think we need a calculator for this. 3 times 2 times 1, that's just 6. So this is 6, but my units are inches cubed, or cubic inches. Done.